All right, so today we're going to dive into Polygon and whether or not this token has a chance to break out. Is it early or is it too late? My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. We had this video kind of lined up for you guys last week. The problem was we had some data that was miscorrected on a chart. We've got that data updated. Now we've got something that we can kind of share with you guys in terms of the strength of Polygon. Or is it a position right now to be able to go into Polygon? Maybe for the first time, we'll get into all those kind of details. Before we start there, I want to remind everybody that we are doing the Diamond Circle giveaway. The first giveaway is going to happen here on October the 15th. That's this Friday, if you're catching this week. The way that you enroll and be able to get a chance to win NFT, digital asset rewards, all sorts of different giveaways, maybe some IDO play, is you just have to enroll. And it's very simple. Hit the link below in the description. It'll take you over to paulbaronnetwork.com, and it's free to join. You'll get not only aspects of digital asset rewards, you'll also get some very cool content that's going to be coming toward you, our members, as well as our email and a few other things that, again, are free of charge to join. So make sure and jump in there because you want to be part of that giveaway. We're going to be doing it on the live stream on Friday, so be tuned in. Typically, we try to get those done at 3 o'clock, so that's the plan for this week, is we'll shoot in on that. Let's jump to this first story. Polygon flips Ethereum on active users' addresses. So the thing with this is that when you look at the big platforms like Ethereum and like a Polygon and some of the other chains that are actually doing very well in terms of total transactions, I was just looking at some of the stuff on Cosmos this week. This is a big deal. And when you look at the numbers here, the count of unique daily addresses active either as a sender or a receiver rose to a record high 566,000 on Saturday. This surpassed Ethereum for the first time, which Ethereum had been holding on at right at, a little over 500,000, 527,000. This was October 2nd. The number of active addresses has grown by 168% in the past 30 days. So a lot of things are happening on the Polygon chain. Ethereum's count has gone up by a mere 0.6%. So I think that again just shows the maturity of Ethereum versus the maturity of Polygon. A lot of people are finding out about Polygon and its ecosystem maybe for the first time. And I think that's starting to show up not only in adoption, but also in the token price. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Non-fungible tokens adoption and gaming have fueled the growth of Polygon. This is a pretty typical story. We've seen it before where a platform like Polygon really gets in deep and starts to really, kind of help support that whole NFT craze, which is what we're seeing now in the gaming function. And according to Spencer Noon, who was an investor at Variant, a cryptocurrency venture capital firm, they've been doing some analysis around this whole element of where Polygon's movement into the NFT space could make them the next NFT marketplace, which you can kind of see here. July traders on Polygon, OpenSea, the NFT marketplace, have multiplied 45.5, and NFTs sold at 17.5. This is a big jump in terms of just the overall traffic for NFTs. Again, another big advantage for Polygon. Second is that gaming is starting to take off. And Arc8 is one example of achieving 104,000 daily active users after just literally days after launch. This was also from the analyst Spencer. And I think when you look at the growth of NFT gaming in general, and many of you guys probably follow a lot of the NFT gaming projects that we've talked about and kind of shed some light on here on the channel, you're going to see a lot more of that. We are really moving heavily into researching NFT gaming, kind of the future of that. Just remember NFT gaming and also the ecosystems that drive it. This is very early days. And I want everyone to be very aware that when we do these market movers, this is not investment advice. This is to get you moving on your research journey to find out what you should be looking at or at least paying attention to in the markets, much like what we'll do here with Polygon. But the key here is it's not investment advice. The idea is it's helping you move your education level to the next level. I want to jump back to this story. The spike in active addresses has yet to give Polygon, the token, a meaningful lift. Now, and that's still pretty much the case. There has been a little bit of movement upwards here, but it's definitely not near its all-time high of 180 this year. So while the token has risen 12% in the last few days in October, it's still down considerably from its September high of $1.80. So that is what we're looking at now and where this is going. And I just want to reference Arc8 a little bit because I think a lot of people have to understand where these dominoes and puzzle pieces start to come together. Over here, the mobile gaming platform, this is the platform, Arc8 on Polygon, has shot up to the top of the DApp Radar game rankings. Play to earn mechanics, a new partnership, and friendly user experience all account for the tremendous launch of Arc8. Last 7 days, Arc8 attracted 115,000, as we just talked about, over 100,000, in unique active wallets to its platform and completed over 311,000 transactions. This has resulted and pushed Arc8 DApp to the top of the spotlight in the DApp Radar game. So this is a big thing, I think, when you look at where game adoption and gameplay can start to really suck in players, and that's going to be the big factor here with a lot of the NFT games and a lot of these, project platforms like Polygon that really kind of move in that direction. The other one that I really like because of the NFT game and the platforms that are being built on it is Solana, which has a lot of similarities. The difference, Solana has made a fairly significant run, even though I think there's a lot of pundits and researchers still believe Solana is going to $1,000. MATIC, on the other hand, has yet to make this run. So I think it's a definite opportunity here before the bull run starts to really take off and MATIC starts to come along with it. Gamey, who is a subsidiary of Animoca Brands, announced this partnership with Polygon Studios on the 23rd of September. The deal saw, and still, I don't think that the price of the current token of Polygon is baked in yet. The deal saw Gamey deploy its Gamey token on the upcoming blockchain mobile gaming application Arc8 on the Polygon network. Moreover, it's hoped to move Polygon will minimize Arc8's user transaction fees, which is going to make it more reasonable to play than some of the scenarios that you run into with Ethereum. When you look at this list right here in terms of where it's going, you've got Arc8 leading the way, QuickSwap, Sushi, then 1inch Network, ApeSwap, etc. This is kind of the mobile esports platform where players compete in games and earn rewards, much like an Axie Infinity. They're using the Gamey tokens, or GME tokens, to participate in Arc8's player versus player matches and the tournaments to buy non-fungible tokens. So I think this also, gameplay-wise, has an opportunity, and I think that's why a lot of people have really kind of leveraged in on where Arc8 is going. And that, with the fact that Polygon has yet to really make its move, this could be a match made in heaven for the potential breakout of MATIC. So let's talk a little bit about the chart. I want to jump to that one. This is the data that we've just updated this last week. So right here you had this most recent sentiment pool, which was on September 5th. This ran through September, right on September 5th, 6204, and the AMP was running at 5911, so that's a little bit low and separated enough to where we saw a little bit of sideways action, and then this little bit of pump right here, which we came back in here on September 18th. We run another bubble. This one runs all the way through September 22nd. This one is a little different because the amplification and the sentiment of course rose quite a bit from 62 to 66, but amplification made a big move and almost did a flip, what we call a flip on sentiment and amplification. What that simply means is when you have sentiment, which is typically tracking against this, and also amplification. All right, so let's pull up Trade the Chain just to kind of compare, because this one's running at 6619 with an AMP of 6601. This is the one unique number that is different about our data than pretty much anybody else out there, is the amplification, because it does give us a little bit of leading indicators, meaning we can start to forecast where the amplification zones fall, and we just overlay that on price charts, and we end up with what you're seeing there in the light purple. And pretty much it lined up right where we thought it might, with the exception of this little bit of an outer bubble right here. Let me kind of pull that brush in right there. So this was the zone that went out of our estimate, which dropped it right in at the $1.35 mark. And then we saw this one just barely pass, but look how close that little bump right here is to that mark of us measuring where amplification is rolling. So the next big move, and this right here is an interesting point right here. You've got this little bit of pull, but notice how we're seeing this downward trend. This is the concern that I have, but I do see this maybe a bottom at around $1.19 and a top somewhere in the $1.70. It may not necessarily hit the 180 mark, which is where it was in September, but definitely has an opportunity to get to the 160, 170 mark in October. So this is a good opportunity if you are looking at purchasing Polygon, or maybe you're looking at some of these. This is what I'm doing, is I'm starting to add more Polygon in here, because if you think about it, look at this line of resistance right here. We're almost down there of its previous dump, which came from that 180, and right there at the 120 mark is really kind of the point where I'm looking for maybe another big acquisition, because this right here is showing these great trends moving up. Now, where does this go out if we start to move on out in the chart? Let's take a look. You know, whoa, there we go. Let's take a look here and just see where this could go if we're going out back into November. Now we're getting upwards of this maybe percentages of, you know, in the $2 to $3 range, which is really kind of where we're seeing open water for them based on what we're seeing right now. Now, granted, something could happen with Polygon in the short term. Something could also happen with Polygon in terms of news breakouts or other potential rollouts. And then also the fact that Polygon has not necessarily coattailed onto this bull run. But I just wanted to jump over to Trade the Chain and just kind of compare. Let's look at the 7-day. And you can kind of see this little dip right here. This is where we were measuring, which showed a little bit of, and again, very light sentiment right here. Same kind of scenarios in the 60s on our chart, which is typical. The 70s is when we start to see a token really start to move. So we're watching this one very closely. We'll probably pull another chart of sentiment right in there, is most likely going to be our next window right there. We're going to take a look at that section of data to really kind of see if there's any sustainability in Polygon going up, or maybe Polygon sliding to the south. So right now, potential buying opportunity. We do see some movement here on it, and definitely an opportunity for Polygon to make some moves in the very near future. And it, along with DOT and a handful of others that have yet to see their real pop, much like a Solana or even the AVAX projects, or if you look even at Algorand, at a certain amount, it had popped up to a little over $2. And now you're starting to see some corrections there. So there's some definite altcoin fading in these earlies, which only indicates the thing that always happens when Bitcoin and Ethereum are starting to move, and that is altcoin season is upon us, and get ready for some big moves. And I think that's what you got to pay attention to and watch closely. Now, we are going to do some videos on the small market cap altcoin movers. And I want to get your thoughts on which ones you might like, because there's still a potential for us to drop a handful more tokens in on that research to take a look at some of these small cap gems and see if there's some opportunities here. Because I think these small cap gems are the ones where you're going to see that 5x, maybe a 10x particular opportunity, versus some of these projects like Cardano, Solana, etc. Sure, and even Ethereum to that extent, you're going to see some definite gains over this bull run. And with Bitcoin right now on the move as we're filming this, the likelihood is, where is the number going to be on some of these blue chips? Is it going to be a 2x, a 3x, a 4x before we start to see this fade? We just had Alex Mashinsky on here recently on the show too. He mentioned something that I thought was interesting. He still looks at the bull run going into Q1, but because of the slowdown in the Chinese displacement of the miners, and also the FUD that kind of created around that, around ESG and kind of just the whole sustainable governance idea of Bitcoin, he believes that that could have been delayed as much as a quarter, meaning that we could see the blow off top somewhere all the way into second quarter. Now, I'm interested whether or not you think that this is going to be the cycle changer, or if it's going to continue on in the cycles that we've seen in the past, which has been 27, 13, etc. Interesting to see your thoughts on that. Make sure and hit the tokens below that you want us to take a look at. We'll definitely get into those. Don't forget, sign up for the Diamond Circle. We're doing a drop, an airdrop on Friday. You don't want to miss that live stream, because money in the bank is what is going to happen. So, all right, you guys want to reach me? Hit me up on Twitter. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.